Your backpacking friends using Dyneema tents and fancy packs don't want you to see this video. I'm giving out my 2025 budget gear awards to the items that prove you can build an incredible kit without destroying your bank account. And some of these items seriously shock me with how good they are relative to the price. So let's get into it. The first award is for the best budget pack, and the winner is the Decathlon MT100. This pack only costs $130. That's the US price. In the rest of the world, you'll probably be paying under $100, which is an amazing price for what you get with this pack. There's a few standout features with this pack, with my favorite being the fact that it has an adjustable torso, so you can move the shoulder straps up and down through a very easy mechanism. And this allows you to dial in the fit, which makes it so that this pack is very comfortable and then carries weight very well. And that's the second thing I really like about this pack. It carries weight phenomenally. It has two gigantic aluminum stays in here in order to transfer weight down to your hips, and then a really nice fully wrapped hip belt with nice stiff foam. You also have a nice water bottle pocket on the right hand side that's kind of angled towards you, so it's really easy to reach back, grab your water, take a sip, and then put it back. With all budget items, there's going to be some sacrifices, and that's no exception with the MT100. The sacrifice with this is that it is pretty heavy at 1.6 kilograms, still lighter than a lot of other mainstream packs on the market. And then the other thing that this pack kind of sacrifices is that the design is kind of weird. For example, you only have a pocket on one of your hip belt sides. On the other side here, you have nothing, which is kind of weird, kind of annoying. And then there's no water bottle pocket on the left-hand side, so you're stuck with only being able to access 1 liter at a time. There's also no traditional side pocket on the left-hand side of this pack. You just have this kind of zippered stuff pouch, and then there's no front pocket, which I really miss. This is probably the feature that I miss the most, because I really like storing things on this outside pocket, like my rain jacket, things I need access to throughout the day that I don't want to keep inside the pack. For the best sleeping pad award, we have the Nature Hike NKTR Air 5.8. This sleeping pad might be one of the best items that we're talking about today. I'll give you a compilation at the end of the video where I give out my gold, silver, and bronze awards, but this one's definitely a contender because of the low price. It's only $70, which is crazy for how many features that you get with this. First of all, it's warm. That 5.8 R value is accurate. I've tested this down below freezing and I was comfortable. This pad's gonna keep you nice and toasty in any sort of 3-season conditions. It's also very light, only 594 grams for the regular wide sides that I have here, which is comparable to some of the more ultralight pads on the market, which is nuts. And then is fairly comfortable and has decent pressure relief with the dimpled baffling pattern. The dimpled baffling pattern isn't quite as comfortable as comparable pads for like the REI Helix or the Zenbivy Flex Air, but it definitely does a better job than a lot of other budget pads out there. And that is one of the sacrifices. It's not the most comfortable pad on the market, but when you're comparing the weight, the warmth, the price, this pad is definitely kind of crazy. The other sacrifice is that it's not the thickest pad on the market. It's just about 3 inches thick. And if you're on the heavier side, over 200 pounds, then when you're sleeping on your side, you might bottom this pad out and then start hitting the ground with your shoulder or your hip. For the best top insulation award, we have the Decathlon MT900 sleeping bag. It costs $170 and just is an all-around great sleeping bag. I've here the version that's comfort rated to 30 degrees Fahrenheit, so right at freezing. And I've taken it down below freezing and been comfortable. So it performs really, really well, but it's also quite lightweight. It's only 1 kilogram, which is a great weight for a sleeping bag that has this kind of warmth. And that's because it uses high-end materials. Very high fill power down, nice lightweight shell fabric that is also gonna be nice and durable for you. And then it also has all the features that you'd want with a sleeping bag. You have a hood on here, a good zipper down the side, and then really nice baffling and draft tubes around the zipper in order to keep drafts from getting through the zipper. This is something that I've encountered with other sleeping bags that's an issue. They just really kind of skimp on those features. The downside is that it's still a sleeping bag. Personally, I find sleeping bags to be less comfortable than quilt systems because quilts just act like blankets. You can toss and turn underneath them just like you would at home and you don't get all tangled up. Whereas with a sleeping bag, I find I get tangled up in them. But as far as sleeping bags go, especially in today's day and age where down prices are going up and up, it's really hard to beat the MT900. For the best pillow award, we have the tried and true Trekology 2.0. If you follow the channel, then you know that this has been one of my favorite pillows for years because of a few key features. The really big one is the fact that it has a pad strap built into it. So you put this around your sleeping pad and it keeps your pillow locked in place over the course of the night, which makes a really big difference as you're shifting positions. Your pillow isn't kind of getting launched away from you and then you're having to wake up a little bit more and chase over the course of the night. It's also very lightweight at 90 grams. It's awesome when you can get an affordable product that's also lightweight. And then it has a nice supportive baffling system to it. So it is an inflatable pillow, but when you're laying on it, it doesn't necessarily feel like you're laying on a balloon. Just the way the baffling system is implemented, it's very effective. It's only $18, so very well priced, but it does have some sacrifices. The big one is probably durability. It's going to be luck of the draw whether you get one that has a manufacturing defect and then loses air immediately, or you can get one like I have here that I've had for years, slept on dozens and dozens of nights and not had any problems. But if you do have an issue with it, I do know that Trekology will just send you a new one, so keep that in mind. Just make sure to inflate it before you go out on a trip. It also doesn't have any insulation or cushioning on top, which might be a deal breaker for some people and makes it so you can't really use it in winter conditions. And then it's not the tallest pillow out there. So if you're a side sleeper with broader shoulders, then the Trekology is going to be a little bit too short for you. So you're going to want to stuff some clothing underneath it or a sit pad in order to raise it up a little bit. For the best affordable tent award, we have the Nature Hike Mongar 2 tent. So this is the regular version that I have here, weighs 1,860 grams, but only costs $100. You can get a more ultralight version that weighs quite a bit less, but it costs double at $200, which is still very affordable, especially when you start getting into more lightweight materials and products. The standout things with this tent are, first of all, the fact that it can fit two 25-inch wide sleeping pads next to each other, which is kind of rare in this day and age. It's getting better as tent manufacturers kind of adapt to the fact that most people are using wide sleeping pads, but it is a really nice feature with this. Nature Hike didn't really cut any corners when it comes to size with this tent. It's also just a well put together tent. You're gonna set it up, you're gonna be like, that was intuitive to set up, it was easy to set up, the materials feel good, feels like a solid tent, and that's true. It's gonna perform really well in weather, and it's just gonna be something that keeps you dry, safe, and comfortable when you're out on your backpacking trips. The sacrifice with this tent is the fact that it is a little bit heavy at, like I said, 1,860 grams. But if you had asked me 10 years ago whether this was a heavy tent, I would say no, this probably would have landed in the ultralight category. But now that we have tents, two-person tents that are closer to around 1 kilogram, this is getting a little bit heavy, but it's still not bad at all, especially if you're splitting the weight with somebody. For the best cook system, we have the Fire Maple petrol pot and then the Fire Maple Green Peak stove. These two items pair together to make a really great canister-based stove system. So you screw this stove onto a canister, fuel canister that you buy at any store, and then you fill your pot with water, stick it on the stove, and then you can heat up water really easily. And the nice thing about it, the standout feature, other than the price, it's $50 for both these, $25 each, which is kind of crazy for an all-in-one stove system, but it's the fact that it's very lightweight relative to other all-in-one systems. It's about 2/3 the weight of a jet boil system, and then it's very efficient still. So you have a heat exchanger system on the bottom of the pot, which really captures heat from the stove and then transfers it into the pot. And then the stove is really nice because you have a nice wide burner on there and you have a wind lip to help protect the flame from wind. I've compared this stove to the jet boil directly, and it was actually basically just as efficient, if not a little bit more efficient than the jet boil, and performed better in wind. The sacrifice is that it's still a little bit heavy. It's 247 grams for both these items, which is heavier than some other items out there that you could compare to, like a Tokes pot with a BRS 3000 stove. That system's gonna get down to about 100 grams, so about half the weight of this, but it's not gonna perform nearly as well, and you don't get the all-in-one system kind of capabilities where you can nest your canister inside the pot, put the stove inside the pot, and then close it all up with the handle of the pot. For the best headlamp award, we have the Nitecore NU20 Classic. This thing only costs $25, but is all around amazing. It has really good lumen at 360 lumen. It's very lightweight. It also has two buttons on top, one for a red light, one for a white light. It's nice to have that red light for around camp so you're not disturbing other people around you. And then it has a USB-C port in order to recharge the battery. So it has a built-in battery that you can recharge. So if you are out on a longer trip, it's easy to just recharge it and get more juice. The downside with the headlamp is that the stock band that comes with it isn't the best. It gets the job done, but I made my own and added it on here. And then it's also maybe not the brightest. I think for most people, 360 lumens is no problem. But if you're doing a lot of night hiking and stuff like that, or doing search and rescue, then this is not gonna be a bright enough headlamp. For the best power bank, we have the Vitamix 10,000 milliamp hour power bank. It's only $25, making it still the most affordable power bank that weighs this little that you can bring backpacking. Inui, that brand is making some pretty good power banks as well, but they're still about 50% more expensive than this one. What makes it stand out is that it's only 165 grams, so quite lightweight, and then you have a lot of options for charging ports on here. You have a USB-C port, you have a USB-A port, and then if you're very old school still, then you have a micro USB port on there as well. And then there's a little screen on the front here that you can press, and then it shows you how much battery you have left. The downside with this is that there is only one USB-C port. These days, pretty much every device that I have is all USB-C, so I'd much prefer if there's just 2 USB-C ports. For the best trowel award, we have the Bogler trowel. This is what you're gonna use in order to dig a hole in the ground, a cat hole, in order to bury your poop when you're out on a backpacking trip. Maybe you're on a trip that has an outhouse, but if you're not, then this is the way that you're gonna achieve leave no trace. And this has a few standout features with it. First of all, it's only 13 grams, so very lightweight. And then it also has dual serrated edges. So you have these serrations on the side here that allows you to cut through roots really effectively, which is amazing if you're in rooty ground. And then it has a nice ergonomic grip, so you can really push on it, and a little nubbin on the top here, which makes pushing on it in very hard ground a lot easier. There's not really that many downsides. Some might say that durability and kind of its strength is its weakness. Like, you're not going to be able to pry giant rocks out of the ground with this, but I've used this for years and I've never really encountered a situation where I felt like I needed something a little bit more robust. For the best chair award, we have the REI FlexLight Air Chair. This thing costs $100, but I've heard of people getting it on sale for $50, which is kind of crazy, especially for how great of a chair this is. The standout features are its weight. It weighs just about a pound, so very lightweight for something that is gonna add a lot of comfort for your trip. So it has a full aluminum frame that gets you off the ground. Then it has a nice hammocky material that you sit in with a backrest so that you're taking a load off your back and just able to relax really nicely. The sacrifices with this chair is that it is a little bit tippy relative to some of the other chairs on the market, but that's one of the trade-offs with going with a lightweight chair like this. It's also maybe not the most comfortable for everyone. I know that some people have used it and been very comfortable on this chair, and then other people have been less comfortable. So it's one of those things where maybe you need to go in the store and try it out, but for 50 bucks, I'd probably just buy it and just live with whatever sort of comfort I'm gonna get, because it's gonna get the job done either way. For the best puffy jacket award, we have the Decathlon MT100 down jacket. This thing costs over $100 in the US now. The price has been slowly going up, but if you live anywhere else in the world, it's gonna cost under $100, which is amazing for what you get with this jacket. The standout features are, first of all, the weight. It's only 280 grams, and that's because it uses very high-end material, very high fill power down, a nice thin shell fabric that's still very durable, and then just all around great construction. This is an amazing jacket for not only backpacking, but just wearing around town if you need an all-around down jacket. It's also warm. There has been some decrease in the amount of down Decathlon's putting in the jacket, but I've used this down to about freezing with some slight movement around camp and been plenty warm. So it's a great 3-season jacket for you. The downsides with the MT100 are the fact that it is on the heavier side relative to some of the more ultralight jackets that use even higher fill power down and even more lightweight shell materials, but those are gonna start having some durability problems as well. So when I'm going on backpacking trips, this is usually the jacket I'm bringing, because I just know that I'm not gonna have to worry about it. If I get a rip, if I get some sort of issue, I'm not gonna need to cry because I spent $600 on a jacket, and because of its durability, I just haven't ran into those problems at all. I've had this one for years now. And that brings us to the gold, silver, and bronze awards for this entire budget gear awards category. For the bronze, we have the MT100 that we just talked about. I love the fact that it's durable, it's lightweight, very well priced for the majority of the world. And then I like that it's a multi-use item. So you can bring it on backpacking trips, but it's also something that you can wear around town, and it's gonna look good and get the job done and keep you warm. For the silver award, we have the Bogler trowel. It's just such a good item, especially for how lightweight it is, and then that $18 price point is just amazing. It's something that I've been using for years, and I don't think you can really beat it. I think we've kind of reached peak trowel at this point. And then for the gold award, we have the Nitecore NU20 Classic headlamp. This headlamp just does everything right. It's bright, it's light, it USB recharges, red light, 2 buttons. Basically everything that I would want from a headlamp is in this headlamp. And for that, I'd expect to be paying a lot more money. But at $25, it's also one of the cheapest headlamps that you can buy. For comparable headlamps that are that lightweight with that many features, you're gonna be looking at 2 or 3 times the price. If you wanna go as lightweight as possible while spending under $1,000, then go check out this video right up here. I put together a gear list that is ultralight, so around 10 pounds, but also everything all in costs under $1,000. So very good deal and has some really interesting items. Some of them we saw today, but there's a lot of others that might be new to you and are just cool to take a look at.